Hey everyone, I'm Alex, and welcome to this guide on how to play Rogue and Loop Hero. Rogue and Loop Hero represents a very straightforward win condition. You gotta hit hard and you gotta hit fast, and this guide's gonna show you exactly how to do that. I'm gonna be going through each individual card in your deck to help you kind of maximize your effectiveness against the second level boss, and also I'm going to show you the mid, late, and early game builds and boards to help you understand how you should lay out these tiles to maximize your effectiveness to win. Let's get started. The first thing you have to note is that Rogue has vampirism built in from the start. That's important to understand because when you're hitting hard and you're hitting fast, you're going to be stealing some health back the entire time, okay? It's very important that you kind of maximize your item build to take advantage of attack speed and evasion so that you can dodge some damage in the meantime. With regards to the cards themselves, I'm going to talk about each one of these quickly. First of all, golden card, we're going with the arsenal here because we want the additional item slot, straight up, okay? Cemetery, we're going with the cemetery because we can kill skeletons very easy with our attack speed. You're going to see it in the video, and they tend to drop good loot, which is what we want. Grove, we need a grove, if only one, okay? I tend to use two, but you need a grove just so you can have a blood grove. Because basically what the blood grove does is you put it beside the boss at the campfire, and essentially it takes 15% off the boss. Because once the boss hits 15%, the boss just dies, and you need that. It's very beneficial. You can even get fancy if you want and go Oblivion. You can add the Oblivion, destroy the grove, and make this a hungry grove, which increases that to 20%. But I don't think we need it, so I tend to not use the Oblivion card, okay? We're using the Spider Cocoon. Spiders are actually probably the most important card in this entire strategy. The reason for this is because what the Spider Cocoon does is it actually spawns a ton of spiders. They're super weak, and you kill them super fast with your attack speed, and they give you a ton of cards, like an insane amount of cards. And it's so important because the cards are the most important part of this build, and I'll explain why in a second. We're going to be using the Smith's Forge because as a rogue, you tend to gather a ton of different items with your trophies, and most of them are garbage. So what the Smith's Forge does is I put one at the front of the campfire and at the back of the campfire. When we're coming into the campfire, we get rid of all our garbage items. We get to the campfire and I pause, and basically I pick the items I want, and then we leave the campfire and we get rid of all our garbage items, and the effect stacks. We actually get 20% incoming reduction damage, and it helps us to sustain throughout not only for the boss fight eventually, but for our run through the loop as well, because Rogue is relatively weak and we have very little regen outside of the vampirism and the attacking, okay? Now, with regards to the beacon, we're using the beacon for the same reason why we're using the blood grove. We want to improve our attack speed throughout the map because that's what we're building here, but we're also looking to put it at the boss location because the boss does not benefit from the 20% attack speed. Your hero does, the boss doesn't. It's basically free real estate, honestly. Definitely need the beacon near the boss. Now, these three cards are the most important in the build. River. The river is going to double the effectiveness of any adjacent tile. Okay, now we have forest and we have deserts, but we're not using either of them. We're actually using just sand dunes and just thickets, and the spider cocoons, the ton of them we're going to build, is going to allow us to never use a forest and just use a thicket. The reason for this is because a forest only provides you with 1% attack speed, thickets provide 2%, okay? Deserts, 1% health reduction, sand dunes, 2%. What we do is we put them beside the river, and instead of a thicket giving 2% attack speed, it gives 4%. Okay, and the desert's going to reduce by 4%. So what ends up happening, and then with the desert, the river becomes an oasis, which basically creates a negative 0.5% speed attack for you, but a full percentage attack speed reduction on the entire enemy. Once you start to stack that, you start to widen the gap between your attack speed and the enemies, and you can just thump them. That is the basis of the plan. Now let's see it in action. Alright, so for the early part of the game, what you're doing is you're focusing on just getting the best items you can. Don't worry about like prioritizing specific builds yet. You do eventually want to focus in on vampirism. However, in the early parts of the game, you can also do the damage to wall type builds, which is kind of beneficial for clearing out spiders. This is what it looks like early, and what you're doing here is a couple things. One, you're setting up groves at the start around the actual campfire. The reason for this is because you're going to set up a blood grove here, and what this blood grove is going to do is it's going to make it so that the boss basically effectively has 15% less HP, because it's going to devour the boss when they hit 15%. Okay, so it's basically like a free kill at 15%, which is why you want the grove here. It's basically the only reason why you're running the grove at all. The other thing you want to realize here is that I'm actually ignoring the forests. The reason for this, I'm only putting thickets down because the more forests we put down, the faster we get to the boss. But the problem with that is it really, it kind of detracts from the advantage we're trying to build here. Now, what we're trying to do is we're going to build a whole row of spiders here. The spiders are going to help us to farm cards as fast as possible. And by putting thickets, which have 2 times the amount of attack speed bonus, what we're going to do is we will kind of amplify the amount of attack speed we're getting, while also using the sand dunes to lower the creature's HP. And also what we're doing is we're running a river through the middle here, and we're going to kind of loop it around here into like a U, because we want to put thickets and sand dunes on either side. But the river doubles the effect of the adjacent tiles. So instead of getting 2 attack speed, you're getting 4 per thicket. That's why I kind of have it come off, so I can put 1 on either side and then loop it around at the bottom here. But the other thing you need to know is that when you put sand dunes here, these become oases. It becomes an oasis. And what this basically does is it takes away 0.5% of your attack speed, but a full percent of everyone else. Note the 0.5% difference, the 0.5% difference. What that basically means is the more oasis we have, the greater the gap comes from their attack speed versus our attack speed, which is going to become very important later in the game. And the thickets will help us build our attack speed, while the oasis slows down their attack speed more than it slows down ours. That is the whole plan. That is the whole purpose. And we're also completely destroying their HP, which doesn't bother us, because with our amulets, because we're running the arsenal, with our amulets, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running magic HP, which is not affected, and it's going to help sustain us, especially with vampirism late in the game. All right, and the other thing you need to make sure you do is have a beacon, because the 20% attack speed is super important, and you want to place it so that the beacon is actually over the campfire like this. The reason for this is because you will gain the benefit of the beacon's attack speed, but the boss will not. Okay, now let's talk about the next stage in this game plan. Alright, so now we're into the mid-game. Let me explain what's going on here. So a couple things. First of all, we put the Smith's Forge on either side of the camp. The reason for this is we're going to have tons of extra items on the way in. We get rid of them and we get 20% damage reduction, and then we get items, we stop at the campfire, we pick the ones we want, and then we come out, the effect stacks, so we get rid of the useless items we don't want, and we get more damage reduction for our long trek around. As you can see, I peeled the river around here. Each one of these is a thicket and a sand dune. I've not used any forest or desert. The reason for that, as I said, is because I want to maximize each tile, because if we just put random tiles down, we're going to get to the boss before we've really maximized our damage potential. I've also laid a whole bunch of spiders here. I'd actually put more spiders if I could. I've just been a little unlucky with my rolls, and skeletons here because they dropped some good loot on the way to the back here. What you're going to see here is like literally, it's not even a fair fight. Like, I'm just deleting these guys. And again, this is at the second difficulty level, like it's not even a fair fight. So right here, what do I do? I'm actually gonna take Picky here. That's actually pretty solid. I'll take Picky. Card Sharp, sorry, is pretty solid earlier on, but I'll take Picky at this point. But like, the reason why we're going with the spiders here is because you see how fast we're farming the cards, right? They're weak individually, and they basically give us cards every single time. Perfect. Another spider cocoon. I will happily take that. Okay, we're gonna take the river here. We're gonna peel it across. We're gonna have to go up and around. In the meantime, we get our sand dunes. I actually might put a sand dune. I'll put it over here. Okay. So what we're doing here is we are really just taking advantage. Like, they have 26% lowered HP. We're attacking 136% faster. They're attacking slower. Like, look at them. It's not even a fair fight, and by doing this, what we're really doing is increasing the power gap between us and eventually the boss, who will be fighting shortly. It's a tough boss. You got to take every advantage you can get here. And for items, I'm focusing in on attack speed when possible. I didn't have a good chesty yet, and again, look, we have full potions. Like, we're not even being challenged right now. This build is insane. Let's move on to the way the end of the game functions. Alright, so now we're at the end game here, and I'll give you an idea just how OP we are. Like, the skeleton can't even attack. We're attacking so fast, and they're attacking so slow. In this case here, we are debuffed, but it is absolutely insane the amount of, like, straight up speed and pressure we can put on these. Like, they're not attacking. Like, I'm just literally deleting guys. It's absolutely hilarious. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get to the end here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put down enough enough buildings just to kind of set them off. So as I said, I usually do not put anything other than the thickets, but in this case, what we'll do is, because we want to face this boss here, we'll wait a second here. Okay, we got our buff here. So this guy's he's at this level here. He actually takes only 1 damage at a time for 13 health. So having the attack speed kind of helps. We actually took a little bit of damage here, ironically, because of the way that worked there. But what we're gonna do here is we are going to put down the rest of these forests here just to activate the boss. Okay, here he is. Okay, so we got the boss ready. Here we go. So again, we're gonna get our armor there. We're gonna get a little bit of healing from our campsite here. So we did heal up there because we have an upgraded campsite. So we got the fight here. Let's see how we do. Now this is actually a particularly hard fight, but we are attacking so quickly that we were able to take down a lot of the adds relatively fast until we get debuffed there. But as you can see, we're taking down the adds relatively quickly. Again, it's all about attack speed. I wish I had a little more lifesteal and vampirism if I could. But, you know, this is a hard fight. But as you can see, even without the crit, just the pure attack speed, again, we're debuffed here. You know, she does not have a lot of health, and we're literally just one-shotting everything here. Still might be a hard fight. It looks like we might actually still lose. It's a tough one. It's the angel that does a ton of damage to us because we don't quite have enough lifesteal yet. But remember, once she gets to 15% HP, she will automatically die thanks to the blood growth here. There she is. So she's down, okay? That's exactly what we wanted to do. And as you can see, it is a truly remarkable build, right? And that's a very hard fight. That's a very hard fight. But this build, pure attack speed, a little bit of lifesteal, and, you know, utilizing thickets, rivers, and sand dunes to maximize the difference, and the oasis, of course, to maximize the difference between your hero and the rest. I hope this guide helped. Thank you so much for watching, and a very special thank you to all of my wonderful subscribers. We will see you in the next video.